Hello. Finally, YouTube does not like going live. It just going live, going live, going live. It's about every third time it finally goes live. I don't know why it does that. Anyway, my audience is on TikTok. I'm just waiting for them to turn up now. And then we'll get going with parenting Q&A. Don't know why I'm whispering. It's not my style. Hello. Hi, I am. You're a regular. How old are your kids, by the way? I am. How old are your kids? Just because you're such a regular, I'm curious. Anyway, while we're waiting for people to turn up, I'd love to know where you're from. I'm in Vancouver, Canada, and it's a gorgeous sunny day. And I'm just going to give you a little warning here in a second when a few more people turn up, just so you're prepared. Okay, so I was asking I am, that's your handle, how many kids, or what ages your kids are, because you're such a regular on here. I'm just curious. I don't have kids, but I recommend you to all the parents. You don't have kids. Are you planning on having kids, or you just turning up? Because I just find your life super therapeutic. Oh, good. I've heard that before, that they're very calming. No one in my personal life calls me the least bit calming, but I am when I'm talking about parenting. The rest of my life, I'm kind of crazy. But anyway, I appreciate you turning up. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for your support. Anyway, I'm going to give you a little warning. It's a really sunny, hot day here in Vancouver, and I'm treating myself to a beer. I'm not really a drinker, so I don't know how long I'll last. As soon as I start to feel myself slipping, I'm going to have to go, because I get very sleepy when I drink. I don't get chatty, I get sleepy. I get nauseous and tired when I drink. So yeah, 34, 32 kids, grands are 16 and 2. My kids are 33 and 28. I don't have any grandkids yet. But yeah, one day. May as well get going. It's very slow so far, and that's fine. That means that I'll probably be able to answer all your questions. I do skip questions if they're similar. I try and mix up the age groups. Anyway, my name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on my website, it's bratbusters.com. You can hire me for coaching, buy one of my courses, or download my free behavior board. By the way, my new course is now available. If you have 3 to 12-year-olds, it's a 5-week course, and it's got group coaching included in it. So I finally got that out. I'm really excited about it. But anyway, I've been talking to the parents who just went through it, and they seem to think it was pretty good, so I'm very happy with that. Anyway, that's available. It's on my website. It's in courses. You'll see it in there if you're interested. It's on bratbusters.com. Anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, like I said, I'm drinking a beer, and I'm not a drinker, so I get real quiet and sleepy when I drink. So I just had 2 sips. So maybe on the 3rd, I might pass out. We'll see. I'm just giving you a warning, because if I seem sleepy, it's just because I'm having alcohol. I'm just not a very good drinker. Okay, so parenting questions. I just did 4 videos on toddlers, and I haven't put those up yet, but I just recorded those. Yeah, that's that same person who asked me those crazy questions. 3-year-old refuses to go to school. I don't know why. Nothing weird going on or anything. I don't know. Could just be a stage. I don't know. They don't usually tell you stuff, but you can get information out of kids by role playing. Say, you know what? How about I pretend I'm you and I'm at school. So I turn up to school and you pretend, who do you want to pretend to be? You might get information out of them that way. And by the way, don't worry about it. It might not be anything big. It's just something that's upset them or that they're embarrassed about potentially. My daughter, I didn't even know this. I found this out. One of the teachers told me this, that my daughter was horrified in kindy, which she was 3 years old in Australia where we lived. They start kindy at 3. And the toilets were all open. She was horrified. She was a real little dainty lady, and she was horrified that she had to go to the bathroom in front of all the girls and all the boys and everyone. So and they couldn't figure out why she wouldn't drink water. This is in like the tropics, heat. And she wouldn't drink water because she didn't want to have to go to the bathroom. So, and then finally we all figured it out. And so they let her go in the staff bathroom. They told the other kids she had a medical problem. But that is kind of embarrassing, isn't it? None of the toilets were all open. It was funny. So you never know what's going on, and she didn't know how to communicate that. So, yeah. Please talk about disciplining an 8-year-old girl with ADHD. That's no different from any other kid. the mainstream children. ADHD to me is no different. You just got to be calm and consistent with everything. So start with my behavior board. It's free on my website, bratbusters.com. It's right on the home page there. And yeah, sorry, I was just reading something else. Oh, yeah, I'm drinking a beer. I've had 2 sips and I can already feel it. I don't usually drink. I don't know why I did. It's a hot summer day. I don't know what got into me. So I'm just telling you now in case I get real dopey. I get tired when I drink. Okay, how to deal with teens who go out of town when not given permission to, what consequence? That's a bit of a big deal, okay? But I can't answer that because I don't know your relationship. How could I possibly answer that with no context? I need to know your relationship before I could possibly give you any advice on that. Has it happened before? What age are they? What kind of parent are you? What kind of relationship do you have? Who did they take off with? Were they driving? I need a whole bunch of context. If you want my help, you'd have to hire me with that. That's coaching. So yeah, I can't answer that. It's not a general answer at all. It's a lot of context around that one. Good consequences for a 3-year-old on the behavior board. Have you already looked at the behavior board? It's usually a chore, and it doesn't have to be anything that they absolutely hate. It's just doing a good deed. It's the action of them doing something good. So it could just be clearing off the table, putting their dishes in the sink. Could be making the bed, which is just like, doesn't have to be well done. They could be wiped down the bathroom sink area, something little, hang up the towels, something really simple. I need some advice. My girls are 4 and 7, and they're so jealous over everything with each other. Well, I talk about this a lot, but it doesn't, okay, I'm just going to write this down. How I phrase it is how you connect with your kids, how you, just a sec, sibling jealousy. The best way I think to make kids closer and get along better is to never separate them. Is you do everything as a family unit. So you play games that's all on their level. Make it something that the younger one is just as good at as the older one. Could be some silly game like whipped cream in the face kind of game. You do stuff together, then they end up learning how to get along together because you're there sort of as the referee in a way. You're kind of facilitating all that stuff. So they learn to bond together when you're, as a unit, you're playing things together. So a lot of parents think that you take them one-on-one time. No, it's not how it's done. Yeah, you bond. You can do that too once you're all bonded, but if they're not close, that's the best way to get your kids close to each other is to play games together. Some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. Imagine what they were saying. You get that here. You get kids on here. They want attention, right? Oh, there is no time frame for switching the toddler's bed. You just got to go with the flow, and every kid's different. There's everyone wants to know at what age do they walk? At what age do they? They're all different. You can't tell. Some kids are potty trained at 1. Other kids are potty trained at 4. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, there's no absolute. This is when they do this. This is when they do that. So yeah, I can't answer that. There's no specific age for that. 2-year-old is very loud, screams loud for any objection she has, being told no. She says no or you say no. Yeah, they'll grow out of that. Toddlers are just crazy. They don't make any sense. Don't try and make sense out of them. They have no sense. They have that frontal lobe thing. That's just like a little feather in there. They've got one marble and some tumbleweed floating around upstairs. They're just forming. They're brand new, fresh human beings. Ignore what you don't like and give attention to what you do like. That's how they learn the best. And it's not words. Don't discuss it with them. These mini therapy sessions with toddlers, they drive me insane. That's for you. That's not for your toddler. That was invented for the mother to make herself feel like she's this great mother. They're just garbage. These mini therapy sessions with toddlers drive me insane. Toddlers are all about actions. They're not about therapy sessions, words. I've got to learn to not let that get on my nerves so much. Because I'm always having to erase all that garbage whenever someone hires me and they've been doing that. Stop doing that. You're wrecking things. Okay. Parents taking away passies at 2.5. My son is 19 months. He doesn't use passy. We'll use it after 2. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. That's kind of a personal choice. I don't want to make a call on that. It's like breastfeeding till they're 8. co-sleeping, homeschooling, religion. Those are all kind of personal choices. If you want to take the passy away, I'll tell you what I did with my son. My daughter never really was into it. My son loved his pacifiers, Soother. We called them dummies in Australia. And anyway, loved them. So he was 18 months old. We just got back from a huge overseas trip. So I thought, this is it. I'm taking them away. I got him to put them all in a little baggie, and I carried him. And we went out to the garbage bin, the big wheelie garbage bin. I opened it up, and he threw it in. And then the rest of the day, I was like this. We all had jet lag, and I just thought this is going to be a nightmare. He never once ever asked for it, not once, because he knew mom had to. If dad had done that, he might have asked, but he knew when mom did something, that was it. So he just knew, like, there was no way those pacifiers were coming back, and he never asked for it. I was shocked. He had tantrums. I thought for sure I was in for one hell of a week, but yeah, he never even asked. Did I do it really well and that's why he didn't ask? No, I think there's a lot of luck involved in that. So yeah, I don't know. I think there was a lot of luck. What's your opinion on popping when trying to get your toddler to stop a particular bad behavior? Is that hitting? Is that what popping means? I'm naive. I don't know what that means. Might be just, I don't know what it means. If it is like popping them, I don't know. I don't know what that means. I'm going to look it up, or maybe you could tell me. What does popping mean? Well, it says popping is hitting. Yeah, I don't recommend it. I mean, it's not necessary. You know, it's consistent corrective action. So if they're doing something you don't like, you just take a toy away, or there's a consistent corrective action. Yeah, that's what I would suggest. But it's not hitting, like it's, because that's replacing one bad behavior with another. Do you know what I mean? Two wrongs don't make a right. Lost my temper today. Any thoughts? Yeah. So you mean you made a mistake? Right? Everybody does. We all do. That's okay. Everybody makes it. Parenting isn't about perfection. Life is messy. It's not supposed to be perfect. Like whenever I talk about things, I always kind of think, you know, I make it was kind of, parenting was kind of easy for me because I had a lot of experience with kids, but I wasn't perfect. I wouldn't want to be. I think you're setting a bad example for your kids if you are. They're going to think, what's wrong with me? I'm not perfect. So yeah, it's not about being perfect. You're going to make mistakes. That's completely normal. Don't beat yourself up over it. Is fidgeting their body normal for 3-year-old? It can for some. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're asking about stepdaughter. I can't answer that. I don't know what's going on there. Too many dynamics for me to guess what's going on there. Got upset with my child. I don't want to apologize because I know that it wasn't okay. I don't want to apologize. Did you say you don't want to apologize? Okay. When you do make a mistake, you have to say, sorry about that. I messed up. It was all my fault. Never say, because you did that. It's like there's 4 steps to apologizing. That's why I always say you got to give respect to get it. Apologizing is a huge part of it. I was really good at apologizing. My son was very funny. He said, well, that's because you had so much practice doing it. He's Mr. Smarty Pants. Anyway, so yeah, there's 4 steps to apologizing. You absolutely have to apologize and make amends. So you say, I'm sorry, it was all my fault. And then you say, what can I do to make it up to you? How about I take you out for ice cream? And then don't keep doing it. That's the 4th step. Don't keep repeating it. You absolutely have to apologize. How to show your toddler you're the leader? Well, I always hesitate when I've got too many answers. It's a lot of it's body language, a lot of it. Like the kids knew from a very young age that when dad said no, it might mean yes. They knew when mom said no, it meant no forever. Like that was it. So yeah, it's being consistent. That's a big part of it, and being very calm. If you yell, you look like you're not in control. But toddlers they're just learning. They're still going to go crazy anyway. So yeah. Do you still work in childcare? I never worked in childcare ever. I just was volunteering. I volunteered in daycare centers, hospitals, schools, detention centers, psych wards, homes, private homes. I got clearance through the government to do that. Yeah, and I'm self-taught. Kids taught me. I'm not self-taught. Kids taught me all this. So yeah, I think I was just kind of came naturally to me, sort of. We're all born to be good at something. That's it for me. Parenting. That's it. That's all I was born to be good at. We all have something we're born to be good at, and that was sort of my thing. I found kids pretty easy. Okay, my daughter says she's bored all the time. I work from home. What should I do? Okay, here's what I did with my kids. But I knew I was meeting their needs. There was no reason for them to be bored because I knew it was also important that they learn how to, um, find stuff to do on their own. I'm not there as like to juggle and entertain them all the time. They have to learn to find their own way and make their own, you know, like what's that called? Entertain themselves. That was really important to me. Anyway, both my kids said this once, and I'm sure they heard it from someone else because they wouldn't have. Surprised they said this. My son was the older one. He was probably about 5 or 6, and he said, "I'm bored." And he even said it in that snotty tone, which like he'd never talked to me like that before. "I'm bored," and I, whoa, snotty! Like I'd never heard him talk like that to me. And I said, "Oh, my precious angel." And he started looking scared as soon as I started talking like that. I said, "Oh, my precious little angel, come with mommy." And he's going, "Uh-oh." And I took him in the laundry room, filled up a mop bucket, and handed him a mop. He never said he was bored ever again. Same thing 5 years later with my daughter. "I'm bored." And my son started laughing. So yeah, she got the mop treatment too. But yeah, that didn't go over with me. It's just kind of a snotty thing to say. And I knew that I was meeting their needs. They had plenty to do. And they also knew that I'm not there to entertain them all the time. It's a very demanding, "I'm bored, entertain me." It's kind of like that entitled kind of stuff. So yeah, that didn't go over at our house at all. Um, I'm assuming you're meeting their needs though. If you're not meeting their needs, then they might be bored. Like, do they have stuff to do? Have you taught them how to entertain themselves? Do they have artwork or, stuff that they can do on their own or just read, whatever? Like a kid never says "I'm bored" with a polite tone. "Oh, by the way, I'm bored." They always go, "I'm bored." It's such a whiny, ugh. That I don't like whining. That's my thing. I can handle tantrums, snotty teenagers, but whining goes up one side of me and down the other. Can't stand it. When should I start disciplining their child? You're asking me about someone else's kid? I do not. I only teach parenting. I'm not telling you that. I don't. I don't discipline other people's kids. Like what I mean is I just don't teach that. What if I told you what to do with someone else's kid and the parents didn't like that? And even when I'm coaching, I often do talk to step parents and that, but the biological one of the biological parents has to be there because they're in charge. It's their kid. I've never had to tell a kid to go play with his toys so much in my life. Yeah, just get the mop bucket out. As soon as I said, "Oh, my precious angel," my son instantly went like this. He went, "Oh no," like he knew. My face must have been, "What are you kidding me with this?" If I'd said that to my mom, she would have gone, "What are you talking about?" Like she just didn't put up with any of that crap. That's where I got this from. I got a lot of stuff from my mom, more than I realized. I was tougher than she was. She let a lot more go than I did. But yeah, she still had that kind of that. She was more of a leader. I find other parents are using my daughter to discipline their kids. How I don't know what you mean. I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about. Uh, Picky eaters. Yeah. Well, I'm not a nutritionist. I'll just tell you what I did with my kids. I'm really into health food. So my kids had two choices. This is it. You can have this healthy food or that healthy food. I had no junk food in the house. So they just, if they were picky, they were just would rather have broccoli than cauliflower. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, if you have junk food in the house, your kids who have junk food in the house are more likely to be picky eaters. I've found. My kids were very picky eaters, but I knew what they liked, and I just sort of cooked around that. But they had to try anything new, but they didn't have to eat it. They just had to try it. And then I'd introduce it again like a few months later because their taste buds would change. But I didn't make a big deal out of it. But they didn't have junk food in the house at all. But when they went out, it was like, do whatever you want, have at it. They go to McDonald's, birthday parties, eat all that crap. They always came home with a stomach ache because they weren't used to sugar and fat and all that. So, but yeah. Oh, my stomach hurts. Yeah, well, that's because you're used to eating healthy at home. Someone said recently, they said, well, my kids are so picky, they won't eat anything until they get ice cream. You just answered your own question. They're holding out for ice cream. If they know there's that stuff in there, then yeah, they're going to hang out for it. My daughter keeps hitting. Well, I don't know how old she is. Is she 2 or 16? The answer is very different. My almost 6-year-old's been hitting, pushing her friends a lot lately. I'm so embarrassed. Help. Yeah, put down no hurting other people. That includes hitting, pinching, pushing, whatever. No hurting other people. And whenever you find out she has, there's a consequence. She has to give something. If she pushes some, I don't know how far it's going to go, but if it doesn't stop with just her having to do a chore, then go into this and say, okay, you're going to have to write a note to them saying you're sorry, and you're going to have to give them one of your toys. I would go that far. I absolutely would. So, yeah. 3-year-old won't hold hand in parking lots or stores and runs. That's a runner. I just did a video on that. I haven't posted it yet. I'm going to post them all. I did 4 toddler videos, and running was one of them. I did videos on these 4 things that some toddlers do. Some of them do them all. One was running, climbing, tantruming, and hitting. Some do all 4, some do 1, some do none. My daughter did none. My son had tantrums, and that's it. But yeah, so I just did a video on that. Put them on a leash, a harness, a restraint, whatever you want to call it, and make them earn their freedom. Say, now you don't run from me. If you let them off, say you don't run from me. As soon as they run, clip, and leave them in for the rest of that outing. But yeah, you got to keep them alive, right? It's like you restrain them in the car. So if they're going to run in front of a bus, restrain them. Or if they're going to run away, they could be picked up by someone. I lost sight of one of my kids once. You know how that your stomach just instantly is up in your throat. Could not find my son. And he was right behind me. Every time I turned, it was just a fluke that whenever I turned, he just happened to turn with me. He was like 1.5, and he turned with me. It was just, every time I turned around, he was, oh my God, it was sickening, sickening. So yeah, you don't want to lose them. Okay. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna have to get going because I've got a beer and I've had 3 sips and I'm feeling lightheaded. I don't want to talk to you when I'm feeling like when I'm on drugs. Like I'm not a drinker, and it's beer and it's a hot sunny day. Drugs, you know what I mean? I just don't want to talk about parenting when I'm not fully, like I just get goofy. I get real sleepy when I drink. I'm not good at it. Anyway, it's the only chance I had to, I was going to say drink a beer. It's the only chance I had to talk to you was tonight, and I wanted to have a beer. So anyway, I've been on here now for 22 minutes, so that's plenty. My new course is out now. It's available now. It's if you have 3 to 12-year-olds, and it's a course. It's also weekly coaching, and we'll discuss the course, how you're doing. It's group coaching. So I've already run through it with one group. They were my beta, my tester group, and it went fantastic. So now it's open to anybody who's interested. Go check it out on my website. It's bratbusters.com. It's under courses in the courses tab on bratbusters.com. Anyway, go check that out. You want to know anything else? My behavior board is still free. It always will be free. So you can go check that out. That's on my homepage on bratbusters.com. And I got to go because I'm already feeling a little bit drunk on 3 sips of beer. I'm a cheap drunk. I fall asleep every time I drink. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back again tomorrow. Happy parenting.